All right, everyone, let's go ahead and get started. Today we're going to be talking about the 5 interview questions that you really need to know. I want to welcome everybody to today's installment of my 6-Figure Pro Job Search Training Call series. My name is Tammy Kabell, and I'm the owner of Career Resume Consulting, and I hold these calls about twice monthly to go over all topics relating to an effective job search for high-level positions, high-paying positions, highly skilled positions, really anything that's near 6 figures or more. I want to welcome, we've got 46 new people that signed up for this class this week, so I want to welcome all of you newbies, and of course welcome back to everyone who listens to this call every time that I have it. So today's topic, like I said, is the 5 interview questions you really need to answer. Before I get started, I want to go over a couple of housekeeping items. Everybody is muted, and it's just going to be me talking until we get to the Q&A session. I hope to have about 15 or 20 minutes at the end of the call, a little bit longer than what I usually have, because I want to go over some interview coaching for all of you that would like some coaching on this call. So everyone is muted. Press *2 to raise your hand at any time with a question, and I will call on you during the Q&A, but if you do have a question, when you think about it, go ahead and press *2 if you're on the phone. If you're listening online, there is a question box in the bottom left portion of your screen, and you can type in your questions, and I can see those and address those at the end of the call. So if you would like interview coaching, I do recommend that you get on the phone so that we can talk back and forth. And you should have that information in the emails that I've been sending. But if you'd like interview coaching, go ahead and get on the phone, at least towards the end of the call. Also, make sure that everyone has paper and pen handy. You're going to be taking a lot of notes. If you don't get everything down, because I do go over everything pretty quickly, don't worry about it. I will send a link to listen to the replay later. So let's get started. I know that there are a lot of new people on the call today, and so I'd like to take just a moment to introduce myself. Like I said, I own Career Resume Consulting. Prior to starting my business in 2008, I spent 5 years as a senior marketing director for the nation's largest executive career firm. So what does executive career firm mean? Basically, I helped clients, like I do now, I helped them market themselves into new careers. So it may be switching industries, it may be overcoming obstacles like ageism or a long period of unemployment, or a lot of them were just still employed and wanting to move up into the next step of their careers. Not just executives, really any well-compensated person or someone who wants to be well-compensated. You know, that company is still around, still, to my knowledge, the largest in the industry. That company charges $8,500 to $12,500. But if they save a couple of months of searching, then it's definitely well worth it, and they've paid for themselves. But in 2008, I started Career Resume Consulting because my clients, honestly, were getting jobs much faster than the company average, and I knew that I could help people in a more personal way, in a more one-on-one way. I consider myself kind of a boutique resume and career coaching service because I work with people one-on-one. I spend a lot of time with everyone. And because of that, I only take on about 4 or 5 clients a month. But for this call about interviewing, I think it is important to know that prior to getting into the career field, I did spend 18 years in the corporate world, both with very large companies and also with a few startups, smaller companies. But I was a hiring manager during all of that time. So I've really been on the other side of the desk. I know what hiring managers want, what they're looking for, and, you know, since the answers are different for each position, you're going to have different answers. However, it boils down to the same questions. So what I want to cover today are how to come up with the answers for each of these questions. These are the 5 things that employers really want to know. If you know these questions and what your answers are to each, then you don't have to memorize the top 201 behavioral interview questions or any of those books that always have those long lists. And I know that a lot of my clients have done this in the past. they try to figure out what an employer wants to hear, and then they try to memorize their answers to all of these different questions, and that really doesn't work because you get very nervous, and it's almost like an actor going out on stage trying to remember his lines. So you don't have to do that. But if you do know the answers to these 5 questions that I'm going to go over, then you're actually going to be well ahead of your competition. If you don't know the answers and how to succinctly tell them this information, then you're not going to be hired. I mean, really the secret is how succinctly you can answer each of these questions. So let's dive into it. Number 1 question, why are you here? Employers want to know, or hiring managers want to know, why did you apply for this job? Why did you send me your resume if you sent your resume to them? Why do you want to work for this company? And why do you want to work in this position? They may even be thinking, why do you want to work for me personally? You know, the answer to this is really key. The answer to this needs to be specific. I hear a lot of times people want to say, in my experience as a hiring manager, well, your company is growing, and I really want to work for a growing company. That's too vague. You know, the best answer that you can give to why do you want to work here, why are you here, why are you in front of me in this office, if it's a face-to-face, the best answer is going to be that you've identified a particular need that you would be able to solve, and you've done the research to find a problem possibly that you can solve. This question is an opportunity for you to show that you've done your research. So if it's going to be about a growing company, maybe they're growing very fast, and you've handled fast growth problems in the past. You know, there are particular issues that happen with fast-growing companies. If you have solved those issues and you can relate to that, then that's something that you can use. But, again, the best answer is you've identified a need. Let me give you a few kind of tips to doing some research to be able to answer this effectively. Certainly you can look on Google, and don't just look on the first page or two when you do a Google search on the company. You really want to look about 4 to 6 pages back. And I have found really nice little hidden gems of information on page 5 and page 6. So I think that it's really important to go all the way back. So when you're doing a Google search, you're going to do possibly a Google search on the company name, and you're going to put that in quotes if it's more than one word. And then you're going to do a plus sign, and then either the industry, so you can see where they stand in the industry, and that's an industry name. And again, if it's more than one word, you need to put quotes around it. And possibly the job position or the department or the area. For instance, if you're going for a marketing director position, you would put in, quote, American Century Investments, end quote, plus sign, quote, marketing, end quote, to see what there is out there. And if you're using Google, a lot of times you can find documents out there and not just web pages. You can find something that says the company name and the subject in a PDF or a PowerPoint deck. There are many times a lot of things that are available to you out there that you can find if they were ever posted online and indexed by Google. Here's another little, here's another little gem for you. If you want to look at the growth, or let's say the trend of their growth, maybe they're contracting, getting smaller, maybe they're expanding and getting larger. So how do you find the trend there? A lot of times these days, the trend that you see on their internet, on their website, is the same as what they're doing in general. You know, and maybe they've expanded their internet presence. However, a lot of times, I would say probably in most cases, if you can find the internet trend of how many unique visitors are coming to their site each month, then you can find out what the growth is of the company. Oftentimes you can't find the financials if it's a private company. But here's something you can use, compete.com, and that's C-O-M, like Mary, P-E-T-E.com. And you can put in the name of the company, or actually it's the name of the website of their company. It allows you to look over time, and I believe It's over the last year, and it might have been 2 years, but I think it's the last year. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. They do want you to upgrade to their paid website, but you don't have to. Put in their website name. You don't even have to put in www. Just Microsoft.com. And you can see what the Internet presence is over time, the unique visitors. And you can put in its competition. So if you know of its competitors and you do industry research on Google, you can find out their top competitors, stick that in there, and it'll give you a graph that'll compare its Internet trend to what the Internet traffic has been with its competitors, so you can see where they stand and how that's changing over time. Another reason to use Compete is that you can look at different subdomains. If you don't know what a subdomain is, that's the different pages on their website. And you can see activity about specific products or services that are on each page. That's a really neat trick, because then you can talk about how, your activity regarding this specific product, that might be featured on that page, has really exploded over the last 6 months. And I have a lot of experience on new products or services. Let me give you an example, and then you give a specific example. So that's a way to be specific in answering the question, why are you here? To find that need and to be able to answer or build your value to that need. Again, it has to be specific. If it's not specific about a particular position, make it about both the position and the company, and not just one or the other. If you can do both, that I'm passionate about this position, I'm passionate about the company, or even passionate about the industry, and tell them why, then you're going to answer that very effectively. What attracts you to the company? And it needs to be specific. Why are you attracted to that particular company? And you can even, find out, look at their LinkedIn profile to see the hiring manager directly. Do your due diligence on the hiring manager and see if there's any connection there, and you can tell that hiring manager why you would want to work for him or her. Let me give you another little piece of advice, another little, I like to call them gems because they're out there and not a lot of people know about them. There's another website called quantcast.com, QUANTCAST.com. Quantcast. Okay, so Quantcast shows the demographic information of Internet customers, and this could really blow them away. To tell them what their demographic is of the customers that visit their website is pretty impressive. And you don't have to be in marketing or in sales in order to bring this up and make it relevant. You could be a chief operating officer. You can be in finance and find a way to make the demographic information relevant. And maybe it's because you've worked with that demographic. If it shows that the average user of their or visitor for their website is over 50, and you work with customers over 50, then you can show that connection there. But again, it needs to define the need of the company or an expertise of yours. Quantcast is wonderful. It'll tell you the household income, whether they've went to college, the age, even the ethnicity. I mean, it gives you a ton of information about who is visiting their site. And these days, the people that are visiting their site are probably the people that are their customers overall, because everybody's using the Internet.